Yeah, that's the fun part. When you're streaming and things go wrong, I'm not sure I'm back again. Let's see what the program says. Stop streaming again. So let's see. Most likely it did open a new stream. Not sure about that. Okay, so checking again here on my channel. So yeah, I just was showing what we were doing now with this background music. So it's okay, let's see. We are back again. We are live. I'll make the screen a bit smaller. And I said, yeah, well, the last sound I was discussing was Predator 2. And let's see if we can open it again. Play it solo. Together with my microphone. It's a kind of reverse sound, but it uses the XY for it. So you see the XY is connected to the filter and the volume, so that makes a kind of wobble. And if you start at the first beat, it's a kind of tempo thing. I see the quality of the screen is not yet very well. I guess it will catch up. So if I put off the solo, you hear again this sound in the music. Okay. Yeah, this music is for a radio show, and I like this radio show a lot. So I created this for this person, and it's the Kev Baker show. Yeah, about Punch 2. So let me tell you a bit about Punch 2 before we go to the new synthesizer, and I'll play you a bit of the new synthesizer sounds. I can see the image of the screen is still a bit fuzzy. I type in the chat room now, how is your screen, guys? Because here I have a very fuzzy image. Yes, okay. Yeah, about Punch 2. If I go to the punch we use here, you see in this groove I have it has the built-in sequencer now. So what we will do in the new punch is that the main screen will have all the pads visible, and you have, because if you go here to the bass drum, you see up here is a preset. So then you would have one screen which each pad has its own preset, and you can go not only having the first pad a bass drum, but you are then free to pick your sound. You could take a bass drum, you could take a tom model, or you could take a sample. So you also could have 24 samples on board. And you see here each bass drum has its presets, which you can select here. So we make that also with subgroups, because for instance, if you go to the sample pads here, we have many presets, which is in this section here. And you see if I go to the list, we have over 800 presets. So we make it a bit more easier to go from that perspective, the user interface. And then what we also will have, of course, is a few new models. but also the FX range will be a bit different. We have 4 FX, but we will use then like a mixer FX send, so that you have a certain amount which you can use in the FX. So it's yeah, in terms of style, it's of course for any kind of music. It's of course contemporary. Somebody just mentioned ambient music. Well, if you go to the film score, you hear that kind of some nice spacey. So these type of sounds remain, and of course we expand in the terms of amount of presets, and we are not sure about still adding the sequencer. So this is the bank manager, because not everybody understands the sequencer. The sequencer is not like a regular sequencer, but it's you fire a groove. So if I hit this first note, nothing happens in this preset. Let's see if I have a preset with a groove. So if you see a beats per minute value like April 1, 64 beats per minute, if I hit this C3, it starts to playing this groove. So you can be very interactive with it. Track 1, each of the groove has 4 tracks. So you see this is 2 is snare 1, and track 3 is snare number 2. So I'm now editing track 3. And what I can do here, with it's not possible with a regular sequencer, is I can change the tune. Or make it left, right. So groove 2 is playing the hi-hat, also here I can do. So that makes that the sequencer, you do different stuff than if you simply play your keyboard. So you can still combine it. So if I have this weird odd thing, I still can play the other notes. Okay. So that's the reason the sequencer is very nice. You can trigger real time some grooves additional to what you play on the left side. So by the way, we check that out. If people still use it a lot, we'll keep it in, of course. Well, it will have 4 FX, so 4 FX send. If you go to the current FX, you can see you have several modes. Parallel, serial, and of course if you wanna in an FX send setup parallel would be the nice thing. So if you would go then parallel, in each pad you would have then 4 dials which arrange the amount of FX, which is now inside the FX itself. So it will still be compatible downwards, but you would have 4 FX which you can combine in different ways. Yeah, definitely. You can add your own samples, which is already possible. So, I mean, in Punch, you have 8 sample pads, and here we have a lot of samples on board. By the way, if you click the right mouse, you have a preview. So the right mouse button. So these are the samples which are built in, but we made a spot for you, which is called user, and there you can drag drop your own samples and work with your own samples. That is already possible with Punch 2. With Punch, and of course it will be also inside Punch 2. In Punch 2 we also will have different sample modes. We have an easy sample mode, because you see in the current Punch version you have a lot of features. Sometimes people don't want to have that. Simply put in a sample, that's it. So we have a simple sample mode and a range of other different sample modes. And the other cool stuff what we will be adding is a slicer, so that you can, for instance, you have a drum loop, you load it in to Punch, and then it makes 24 pads from it, and then you can fiddle around with it. So that is also planned in Punch 2. So it's going to be very cool, but we need some time to finish it, of course. And it will have the same high quality sound, which you can expect, of course, from this machine. So I'm checking here the... Yeah, it's the sequencer is small. Yeah, that's maybe an idea to make it a bit bigger, to have a bigger sequencer screen instead of having this setup. But as mentioned, we have a bit of sometimes for people to make them understand what the basic concept is. You can trigger it as an audition to hear how the sound is about, but yeah, because the triggering, because sequencers can have different features, which is normally not that easy done in a regular sequencer, that you can say, okay, I changed the panning of the sound dynamically. So now you hear that with this little shaker, that it goes from left to right, or that you change the tune. Because all the grooves we made with Punch, we also have it as a MIDI file. So if you go to the Punch page, then you can download all the grooves we made as MIDI file and then use it in your sequencer and drop it there and use it as a sequencer. Only then these little pitch things and these little tricks like panning and tune, that's not taken over in the MIDI file, unfortunately. Okay, so I was talking about this little piece of music I made as background for the Kev Baker show, and I was with Predator 2. Now, of course, I don't know what I used originally. Let's see, I go to Quick Browse, recently browsed. I don't know what I used. Maybe it was this one. Let's try it. No. Oh, that's of course cool. If you have a groove, you can go to a different preset and check how that sounds. Let's see now. Take another one. This is so nice. You hear that low one? That's cool. I'll put it a little louder. Therefore we call it Punch, because you see here the screen even cracked because it has so much power inside of it, this drum machine. And the cool thing, it's synthesis, a lot of synthesis. So let's see what plays here. So this is bass drum 1, and let's see where the deep one is. The deep one, because I hear it's very deep. I'm not sure. Yeah. Sample 4 also plays. So this is this is cool. You see, sample 4 is a Udo boom. It's a Udo. It's a big Udo. It's a percussion instrument. It's like a vase. And now I combine in this groove. I combine the bass drum 1 together with this Udo sample. So it's on. Let's see which note it is. So it's then you get. So that makes the sound so deep. So yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, then we have, of course, yeah, somebody does mention Jamal. Yeah, he has some great presets for here in the Jamal bank. Let's see, just pick one and just play it with a song you made. Let's see. Yeah, as you can see, you can go any direction. It's really a drum synthesizer. It's not only based on samples, but a lot of cool other stuff. So let's see what. So you see, they have a lot of features in the sample section up here. It's a very deep drum machine. But we make with Punch 2, which hopefully we will have in October, November, somewhere in that area. We'll have some things which makes it easier to work with, loads of good presets, and of course some very cool new features. Time stretch. No, we don't have time stretch inside of it. That's maybe an idea. I have to talk with John Iris about that fact, because now we detune it downwards, but it's not time stretching. But what we built in is a slicer part, which, for instance, you have a drum loop, which is 2 bars that you can say, okay, slice me this in 24 pieces, because 24 will be the max, the amount of pads we have, and then you could have this chopped up. So it's going to be built in anyhow. Okay. Yeah, the okay, so that's about Punch 2. And Punch, which is in progress. Yeah, we had in this now it goes solo. RG has the chords, but the muted and the power chords are single notes. So the power chord is a fifth tuning, so it doesn't have major or minor or whatever, or and the muted are single notes, and it's a sequence with up, down, stroke, go, strokes, and this way you create the groove. And the has a built-in effects and a filter, and then you get this, of course, this groovy sound in. RG is from one point a one-trick pony, but it has a lot of fans because it can do very realistic grooves. It's essentially a rhythm groove machine. It will not do everything, but if you need a nice groove in your track, maybe it's a house track or whatever, RG has really some very nice sounds. And you see, I use it here twice in this piece of background music. I use the distorted one. And yeah, combined with the rest, you get this different sound. Yeah, somebody they get back to Punch. Yeah, with Punch Multi, you need to create, of course, these. That's an option in Punch Multi, which is very nice. If you you have Punch as a VST or audio unit, but also Punch Multi, and then you can, for each pad, you can have a different output. Then here you have stereo 6, 7, and 8. If you select that one, then you get the additional outputs on your virtual mixer inside your music program. Then you could say, okay, one sound I want to process with something else, and you have separate outputs. Okay, going back. Use pattern 3 hard mic 0. I think that most likely will be a hardcore one. Where did you find that one? In dance 1 or 2? Let's go to the bank manager. He does mention part 03. I cannot find it yet. Yeah, it should be one of the other ones. Yeah, the bank manager is going to be different. It's of course more what we have now. The user interface will be bigger. Of course, we will have the option with Punch to have 100%, 150%, and 200% size. It was in film score and TV. Okay, film score and TV. Oh, 01. Okay. And it should be here. I'm checking it. I'm in the bank, but I don't see the preset. I don't see down here a preset with the name Mike in. That's another one. D-Zone. Check. Okay, yeah. I almost like, it's not in this one. It should be somewhere. I recognize the name, but I don't know where it is. Okay. Maybe it's in the introduction bank. Each bank with Punch has 32 presets. It has still the original VST bank system. And with the Punch 2, we move to single presets. So then each bank will have, let's say, 128 presets as a single file. We do that also now with Go2, and all the new products have each preset is a single file. Originally, FXB was this bank system, which means that one bank could contain 128 presets, but all other brands moved away from this system, which is essentially similar to what they do in hardware. So in hardware, you also have a bank with 128 presets. Okay, so now let's play a few of the sounds. I cannot show you the user interface of this new synthesizer, of course, because it's not ready, but I can show you a few sounds. So this new synthesizer has the strong point is its sound. It will be easy to use. So compare it a bit with Go2 in terms of features. It will by far not so deep as Predator 2 or Bluetooth, which have very complex options, and so it's more a rock and roll synthesizer. And it's going to be released hopefully at the end of May, but most likely it will be early June. And the good news, it's part of the Explorer 5. So if you own the Explorer 5, you get very soon a very cool present. But let me play a few presets. Okay. It's, as mentioned, very organic. So if you say, okay, I want to do some really classic analog type analog style of FX, which you did with the old patching, that's all possible with this synthesizer. No, it will not have an XY pad, and the total amount of LFO will be 4. And but we did really work on the software to give it a certain type of sound. That's one of the sound. Maybe you know this. That's the CS80 sound. Vangelis. Of course, you hear the clicking. I really don't play it well, but it's the built-in reverb, and of course it's from Vangelis, and this one is from with John Anderson and Vangelis. Yeah, it's the CS80, and of course in this preset I use the 12 dB filter aftertouch for the vibrato. And he used this sound on Spiral, which was this so this type of sound, it's great for analog stuff, but it will do also, and of course it will it will in price be a fraction of the original CS80, which is of course a fantastic instrument, but very rare and very expensive. Yes, of course, Minimoog style lead sounds. But that's the nice Minimoog style lead, Moog style bass. It will have a sequencer on board and arpeggiator, so you still can do some cool. Okay, let's play some more sounds, more edgy. Or this. Or the Prince type of sounds, which are more the op rhyme stuff. It has distortion on board each note. I mean, the original synthesizers, the analog, this is really going to be the Rob Harpen virtual analog machine, which is very focusing on the typical analog sound. But keep in mind that all the processing stuff inside of it is not always has a kind of little distortion, because yeah, if you play a sinus from a analog synthesizer and you look on it, you see all kind of little imperfections or audio artifacts. So we did our best to really recreate the sound. And yeah, as you heard with Vangelis, the sound it's very close, very close. yeah, we have then, let's see if I can show you all the lead sounds. There you hear my keyboard clacking, that's not so nice. Sure, it has analog drifting, synths it has. Well, it's the distortion is on a level that you can control. It's still on the amp section. Each voice you can give it a little edge. So if you want to keep it clean, it's still possible with this new synthesizer. So this is a sync lead sound. Okay, and this is a weird thing which you can do with a little trick. It's not a delay, but it's something else inside the synthesizer. Then we have something new, which most likely we also do in our new synthesizer, which is a tuned noise. Let's see if I have a. So Jupiter 8 type of sound. It's so phaser is on board, of course. So yeah, this is gonna be a very interesting synthesizer, some wild stuff. Oh, I had that one, right? Yeah, this one I had also, I believe. This was this Moog style. And this one is really dry. It's a very nice engine. Of course, Jamal has some presets. Let's play a few of the Jamal presets. Yeah, this is Jamal, and it's upside down. This, of course, these Stranger Things. Let's see. Yeah, for hip hop, of course, Sub and Bass is great, but also Predator 2 has a dedicated bank for hip hop sounds. That's in the chat room. Okay, let's play. Okay, I had that one from Jamal. the ARP has the feature that you can use it as a sequencer, but also chord mode. There are, I see can flux is inside. This is the new synth can. I don't show it because we don't have ready the user interface, but it's gonna be the new Rob Harpen synthesizer for at the end of May, early early June, and it's gonna be my virtual analog machine. Focus is to have really cool sound. So if I go back to what I played earlier before you were here, this is the Yamaha CS80 sound. Okay, my keyboard. This is a typical CS80 sound. Yeah, Prince. It really can do the analog stuff, and of course, all the other synthesizers we have are hybrid. So Predator 2 also have wavetables and doing some digital stuff. Bluetooth combines FM together with subtractive, and this one is a synthesizer. Everything, all the parts are in front, and it's really a very nice, gonna be virtual analog machine, and as mentioned, part of the Explorer 5 bundle, and it has very high quality DSP coding. We paid a lot of attention to getting a particular sound which I was seeking, and just like this type of FX. Yeah, it's yeah, man, what I have to say, this is really a sound which has totally fallen in love with it. And of course, if I tweak it here, I can make it yeah, what's virtual analog? We tweak the sound this way that you still get a different sound. I mean, if you, it's also in the waveforms, of course, if you have Predator 2, let's go to Predator 2 to show you how different things can sound. This is the pad sound what I use, but when I go here to Predator 2 and to the synth and use bell to synth voice, so here you have a waveform, which is a combination of a wavetable, and so it's a different sound, and we did focus. So each synthesizer in our bundle has its own focus. And we noticed with the big success of Go 2, which is really a big success, is that people also like synths which are maybe not that deep and that complex, but you still can do some cool stuff. And Go 2 is the big example. If you have one screen and you have this morphing between oscillators, is you can do some amazing sound. So of course, in terms of analog type of bass sounds, Predator 2 is also great, but maybe because of the other features, you do other stuff with it. The same is with Predator, with Go 2. But for instance, sub-boom bass is of course for having classic bass sounds. So if I, okay, this is Vecto. Add track instrument. If I go here, Add sub-boom bass. By the way, you guys, you should check out this Scanflux PS channel on YouTube. Has some very interesting. Okay, and here we have sub-boom bass. So if I go to sub-boom bass, go to the classic bass banks, you'll find some very good analog stuff also. So I'm just you see no FX used. Yeah, sub-boom bass is used a lot on productions. So each have their own focus. Sub-boom bass has the, if you have a really good bass in your music, of course, that it was the new synthesizer with the which we're gonna release in end of May. You also could make great basses, but sub-boom bass has some other stuff again. So like this bass, which is called California Sun, CA Sun. It has a bit of distortion, but it uses a real bass combined with a analog waveform, which is a bit distorted. So you do again different stuff. Each instrument has its own stuff. Yeah, the user interface is still classic with sub-boom bass too. Yeah, that's particularly because we make a little snatch to, of course, the traditional synthesizers with that. Okay, going back to the some sounds of the other synthesizer, the new one. It still will have unison also on board, so it's a classic analog type of synthesizer, but it still will have the unison mode. Okay, let's play a few other sounds for you. Distortion type of stuff. Because we have in the amplifier a distortion, you can go pretty nasty with this one still. But also very sweet and this is a notch filter you can hear, and this is a very nice bandpass filter. New is tuned noise. So in the waveforms, you have the classic waveforms, but then you have white noise, pink noise, and tuned noise. And coming back, which would be the best synth for basses? Yeah, sub-boom bass, but also Bluetooth has some very interesting bass because they use more FM synthesis. Then you get a different character. Essentially, I would say all the synthesizers I have are very good in the bass area, but it's also down to the presets, of course. So this is the tuned percussion. I don't know what this is. This one I already had. This with the tune noise together with a normal oscillator. Yeah, Gad Bryan's Peru sound. Yeah, definitely. It's this sound is from the band I played in, which is called Peru, and it's the I originally did this on the Jupiter 8, and of course I recreated this one in the new synth. And okay, then maybe then you also know this one, because I created that also from also from a Peru album. Looks a bit similar to the Evangelist sound, but it's a bit different. It's more a harp type of sound. So yeah, it's gonna be a very especially people who like the typical analog sound, and of course we do a lot of classic presets with it. There's a whole bass sound, but also bass was using noise. Okay, then I have also, let's see, I'm not sure if I played all the sequence sounds. Sorry. Korg MS-20 type of sounds. So sequencer mode. There's a built-in arpeggiator with the flanger, and of course you can use the modulation wheel to control the flanger speed. Okay, I'm going back to the chat room. Ken Flux asked me, I wonder if you have looked at the PowerBat ALEC technology to possibly port a synth to hardware one day. No, I didn't look into that. Of course, if you have a nice audio converter built in and a good processor, you can, of course, make also a hardware of it. But I'm not looking into this too much. And yeah, so it has the 3FX on board, it has chorus, it has reverb, delay, of course the top-notch reverb, what we always have, so it doesn't break your sound. I played it with this Minimoog lead sound. This one has the built-in reverb of this new synthesizer. So you see, it's a very, very high quality. Okay, so ALEC is a platform especially to make the VST developers to port into hardware. Yeah, interesting. We surely should look into this. And so yeah, guys, this is going to be at the end of May, early July. The focus is really on virtual analog and also stays there. So there's no hybrid waveforms on board or that kind of thing. Sound quality is absolutely stunning. We did some changes to the code so that we get this typical sound I was seeking, and you heard it already. And it's still very deep. It has some very cool, unique features. Like in the sequence, we have this this tie mode, which has a special mode and a normal mode where you can do really some different stuff. So yeah, it's part from the Explorer 5 bundle, so the Explorer 5 users will be happy. They can download then the latest version of Explorer 5 when it's out, and they have a great new synthesizer in their palette, which is again different from the other things we did. Yeah, there's a drift in the program of this lead sound is this way, because I have a Minimoog here, Jupiter 8, and of course I learned how these things drift. And if the drifting is too much, it doesn't sound well. But if you have a certain type of drifting, and I picked the Jupiter, not the Jupiter, but the Minimoog as a basic reference in how we should make the oscillators inside this synthesizer drifting, because if the oscillators can be digitally very tight, of course, but it sounds better if they drift, and you get this live action in the sound, so that it really likes this typical two oscillator sound. So if I would put out now one oscillator, you don't have this drift. It's just this movement in the oscillator which makes this. Okay, again. Of course, one oscillator still could be nice, because there's also. So one oscillator still could be a nice lead sound. Now I have one oscillator, only changed a bit the envelope. So it doesn't need to have 20 oscillators to have a nice sound. It's just one oscillator. And by the way, this preset I sent you, which I played from Vangelis, this CS80 sound, is also one oscillator. Now the filter what I use with is a ladder filter. The filter I use now with this Vangelis sound is a 12 dB filter, because the Yamaha CS80 has originally a 12 dB filter. So I use the 12 dB filter for that one, filter type 2 in our range of plugins. And the lead sound you heard, that one, it's called Attic Moogie. So it's from the attic. I took a Moog down from the attic and played a lead sound with it. So I called it Attic Moogie. And this lead sound uses the 24 dB low pass filter type 1, which is a ladder Moog filter. Okay. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. And as mentioned, you always can watch this live stream back on the in the playlist live stream. There are many live streams there now. There are a few which are very popular, and so you always can look it back in case you missed it. I suggest check out the Can Flux channel on YouTube. He has some very cool videos about Eurorack synthesizers, hardware synthesizers. He also discusses software synthesizers. He's a synth freak just like me and you, so that's cool. And okay, did not mention this synthesizer will cost 99 euros. That's the map price for this new synthesizer, and of course part of the Explorer 5 bundle. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time, and yeah, hopefully very soon I can have a live stream where I can show you the user interface and play even more sounds of this new synthesizer. And in the meantime, I would say have fun making music, and thank you for watching. See you next time.